Hello everybody, Crypto Chaperone here, and another day in cryptocurrency space recently, and it's another day of FUD. And it seems like this FUD is kind of attached to the FUD that we have been hearing recently about the bank ban, but it seems like more banks have been jumping on the bandwagon of banning cryptocurrencies for their credit card users to use. So I'm going to get into that a little bit, as well as another cease and desist order has been sent out from Texas on another cryptocurrency lending platform. So if that's not a hint at you guys enough to get out of these lending coins like BitConnect, USI Tech, and stuff like that now, then I'm not sure what is. When these states are actually stepping in and only really trying to stop you from investing in these kinds of things, that kind of means that these are the things that are probably the most shady and the easiest ways to lose your money in the whole cryptocurrency space. So hopefully you guys haven't been selling your coins. Hopefully you've been holding on to them tight lately. I know it is very hard to hold on to your cryptocurrencies because every day you open it up and there seems to be like another 20-30 billion dollars pulled from the market again, and all the cryptocurrencies are down another 12, 15, 20% depending on what currency you have. But there's Tether, if you want to take the risk and get into Tether, which I personally think Tether may see its demise this year throughout the 2018 year. I think we might see something happen to Tether that could cause its collapse, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen yet. That might be for after our next big rise in cryptos and everybody jumps in again in the next upcoming month or so. Maybe that'll be towards the end of 2018, and that'll be how a lot of other people get burned in cryptocurrencies as we get the next big dip. But if you can make it through this dip and you guys can continue to hold on to your cryptocurrencies, or if you feel comfortable enough to go out and day trade your cryptocurrencies around, then as long as you are accumulating more at this point, I personally, this isn't investment advice, but I am personally not cashing out my cryptocurrencies, because at this point, if you have been holding on to them for any time at all, then you're pretty much in for the long run at this point, unless you bought in unless you bought in maybe at a very, very short term, like really recently, and you just don't want to take a chance in losing all your money, and you put your entire life savings into it and just didn't really plan your capital out wisely, then you would have to probably just do your own things based on whatever you want to do by the markets. But personally, me and what I keep telling all my friends and everybody that asks me, I just keep saying, hold on to your cryptocurrencies, because as you can see time and time again, history has been repeating itself with these, and there's been people that, you see retweets and screen captures of people who look at tweets from 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 years ago when people were freaking out when Bitcoin was at $20 and dropped to 18, or was it $150 and dropped to 100 and stuff like that. And now if those people would have just held their cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin or whatever they had till this point, they would have profited immensely instead of freaking out and stressing and trying to buy and sell the dips back then. So, history might not repeat itself, because we can't really say it's going to happen all the time, and we can't really count these patterns on to keep on coming in cryptocurrencies. But I personally, I was into gambling before cryptocurrencies. It made it a lot easier for me to say goodbye to my money as soon as I put it into stuff like this, and as soon as I was putting my money anywhere, gambling kind of prepared me for this. So just in cryptocurrencies in general, I'm ready to lose my money, but I think if I'm a gambling man, and I would say they're gonna definitely go up. So, and if you guys pay attention to anybody, I know I tell you guys, don't pay for people's information. There's people out there trying to sell information for $200, $300, $500 to get into their clubs and stuff like that, where they'll give you coin picks and information about tokens that's going on. And obviously in times like this, you're not going to be making a profit, and if you are still making a profit or accumulating more through their courses in times like this, then I would say those are probably good courses. But a lot of times these people just promote themselves very heavily through bull markets, and they say that their courses are doing very well and all this stuff, and they're making great returns for everybody investing with them. But in reality, it's a bull market and all the coins are going up. So just because the coins that they picked are going up means probably a lot of other coins are going up. So you might have actually had the opportunity to pick those same coins on your own if you would have just done some research, and you wouldn't have had to invest part of your capital into somebody else who is just selling that same information to tons and tons of other people. Now, that being said, I do say some people, like if you've ever heard of the YouTuber Supo Man, he does sell a course, and you can get into his cryptocurrency group or whatnot. I think it's like $10 to get into his course, and you might be able to get into his group for just that $10, and it's like all joined to that. And that is not personally too bad, because you know it's only $10 for you, and he is selling this to a lot of people, so he's making a lot. But as there's a lot of other people out there who are selling it to a lot of people, and they're selling it for a lot, they're just making way too much money, and there's no reason for that when they're giving everybody the same information. And then I could see if they were gonna sit you down and kind of take you through an individual crash course of cryptocurrencies personally, like a one-on-one session. But a lot of these people, they also have their own Slack channels, Twitters, Telegram, stuff like that, where you can just personally get in touch with them, as well as their email and everything else that I'm sure they give out to people on their channels, kind of like how I do. So if you have any questions or anything like that, most people that ask them, they get in touch with right away. Or if you want to get on their Telegram channel and ask them, they'll get in touch with you decently quick. So with that, I also think that somebody that has decent information that I sometimes look into is a person named Cliff High, and what he has is something called predictive linguistics. And what that is it goes out and it kind of grabs a bunch of information from the internet, it assigns a correlated number to that information, it kind of boils all of that down, and it kind of assigns trends in the future based on what that information is saying and everything that's going on that he picks up in his search databases. And he, back in 2017, came out with a report that said in 2018, in February, there was going to be a low level. Bitcoin was going to hit about $13,888, and that was going to be about the bottom of its dip that it's hitting. So when Bitcoin started going up to about $18,000, $19,000, $20,000, everyone was freaking out and telling him, oh, you're wrong, your information's wrong, and stuff like that. And he doesn't make this information up or anything. He is simply just taking information that he gets, and he is taking it from the software, everything the software says, and he's just writing it out. So a lot of things that he says are wrong, and a lot of things that he says are right. So you've got to really take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of things can be misconstrued through all the information that he gets. And so, some people can alter his results, as he talks about in some of his interviews and stuff like that. And he tries to avoid that as much as he can, but sometimes it's hard for him to do that. But what we run into is that is all about Bitcoin at the moment is sitting at $7,178. It's having a little bit of a pullback. It was at under $7,000. It was about $6,900 just before I started making this video. But what I was going to say is that is almost twice as much as what the current Bitcoin price is. It was actually about twice the actual cost of what the Bitcoin currently was. So if that information does stand true and hold true, that means that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we may see Bitcoin double in price, and we may see the bulls start to come into this market like we have been thinking. Now, I'm not sure if his information picked up all of this downtrending that was going to happen, but maybe if his information would have picked up all the high points, that $20,000 high point and this $13,000 low point, maybe it could have been somewhere equated into that, or somewhere like thought into it that there would be a low dip. But most people would think that the low dip would just be to $13,000 and not way below that. So a lot of people are kind of excited about this information and excited about this report, because he has been right a lot recently on cryptocurrencies. He's predicted a lot of these right, but as I said, it is a bull market. A lot of these are going up. You can't associate just things people are saying with a bull market, as well as he does have a lot of pull in this market. So if he does say Ripple's going to go up, Cardano's going to go up, Stellar's going to go up, even in an ICO phase, when he starts talking about it, everybody rushes into these ICOs, because what he initially, when I back in the beginnings when I was hearing about Cliff High, he was talking about Veritasium and Ripple and stuff like that. And I think the Veritasium calls and Ripple call was what got a lot of people to follow pretty much all of his reports word for word and do everything that his reports say, even though they're not financial advice, and he specifically says that. And he says that this information could be completely wrong or misconstrued through just people out there trying to give him faulty data, and they're out there putting in fake search requests and stuff like that multiple times, and trying to just get data that him and other people that are doing this are trying to they're just trying to mess it up. So you really have to take it with a grain of salt when you're doing stuff like this. But in his crypto reports, he has been relatively close on his reports lately. So a lot of people, including myself, I'm hoping that it is holding right, especially with these cryptocurrencies going on such a big dip recently. But who knows, maybe all this FUD is just trying to push the markets down and out, or maybe it's just trying to push the markets down so the big institutions and bankers can acquire more. So with that news, we have another 2 banks. Now, I'm not sure if these have been added just after what I made the video yesterday, or they might have been added with the people that I made the video with yesterday. In yesterday's video, I talked about how Citigroup, Bank of America, and JP Morgan Chase were not going to allow their credit card holders to purchase Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies through their credit cards and through to purchase them. So there has been 2 other banks have now come on, and it has been Discover, and I can't think of the other bank right now. Discover, and we'll find it in a second. But essentially, these 2 banks also now have said that their credit card customers cannot use their credit cards to purchase cryptocurrency anymore. And what a lot of people think are that the banks are going to start stepping in and say that you cannot use your bank account for wire transfers and stuff like that, and for buying cryptocurrencies, like how people link their Coinbase and stuff like that to their bank accounts. So we might see that soon, but hopefully we don't, because that would definitely put a damper on the way that everyday people get into cryptocurrencies. A lot of people would have to start going on to localbitcoins.com, and you would have to start getting into, you would have more sites like that popping up, and more decentralized exchanges where people who already had cryptocurrencies would be able to more freely trade them. I think that decentralized exchanges are going to be something that the future is going to definitely have in store. I think any opportunity that you guys have to invest in those things like 0x and any decentralized exchange coin, except for Ether Delta, because they kind of got bought out by a different company, and I think their ICO was kind of just held as like a cash grab, so they could have made all their money back for what they paid for the company. So I don't really think Ether Delta is a safe site. Well, they're probably still safe, but I don't trade on them anymore, as well as Bittrex, even though Bittrex is trying to span out and work with all these new people, and they're letting new investors into their site again and stuff like that, kind of like how Binance is. And they were claiming they were just running into KYC troubles, but Bittrex has always been very strict on KYC. Even though they are based in the United States, they said that they were freezing a lot of people's accounts because they weren't filling out their KYC stuff properly. So I haven't heard anything recently. I don't go on Bittrex. I've moved to all my trades that I do to Binance, and in hopes that Binance can keep up with everything. So we'll get back to this information. So we have also that Stripe canceled Bitcoin payments in January. Microsoft and other companies don't accept Bitcoin anymore. So it seems like a lot of these companies are trying to, the media is making it out to seem like these companies are just trying to go against Bitcoin. But the problem is that Bitcoin's transactions at the moment are just very slow, and they cost a lot of money. So what happens is, if the merchant isn't getting stuck with the fees, then the person who is making the transaction is getting stuck with the fees. And, you know, Microsoft doesn't want to do that. They don't want to get stuck with the fees or make their user get stuck with the fees, because it's going to turn people off of wanting to buy any products on their platform with that currency. And that's just a waste of having a random currency on their platform. So I think that this isn't really done as a negative hit towards cryptocurrencies. I think it's just done as a way until cryptocurrencies start to speed up, or until they maybe pick up Litecoin or something else like that. That's something else that just has a faster transaction time and is cheaper, that they will implement that onto their groups. And oh, here, okay, we have Capital One. So that was the other credit card company that is now banning people from using their credit cards to purchase cryptocurrencies. So along with this, we also have China coming out with, and I think this is what is tying to a little bit of a dip in our markets in the last 24 hours, along with all this credit card news coming out. China has actually decided to put more strict policies on all of the cryptocurrency trading that goes on for local investors within their country. So what that means is they are going to start to crack down on all the sites that make it through the Great Firewall, and that is essentially a giant firewall around China that filters out all the information and censors everything that goes into the country. It doesn't allow anything in like Facebook, YouTube, or Google, and instead they have searches like Sina Weibo. They have a service that is called Youku, which is like their YouTube, And they have Baidu, which is like their Google, and they do all their searches on that, which is their biggest search engine. And it's kind of like their own little isolated utopia that is censored from the outside world, and they can't really interact on these social networks and stuff. And what China is also trying to add into this firewalls, proxies, is cryptocurrency sites and the ability for people to buy and sell and trade on these exchanges. And that is going to put a damper on cryptocurrencies, I think, for the moment. Since China was one of the biggest areas, it was a superpower of cryptocurrencies. We had so much going on in China until you had the China cryptocurrency ban when they said they were going to crack down on everything, on ICOs and cryptocurrencies. And then you had all the China power move over to Japan, and it kind of really pumped Japan and South Korea, and those two became more of a superpower than China. And now I think China is really just putting that strict grasp on the last couple investors that are left in their country. And I'm not really sure why at this point, because China has the opportunity to make taxes off this and everything else, but I think they're understanding how hard it really is going to be to tax these people. As you see, the United States has gone out and they're trying to attemptively this year start cryptocurrency taxing, and they have private firms that are out there, and they're creating software that is trying to attach people's personal information with their actual token wallets that they have, whether it's ERC20 wallets, Bitcoin wallets, Dash wallets, anything of that sort. So they are really spending a lot of money and time and going through a lot of resources to try to get down to the bottom of these things and try to really pin all of these cryptocurrencies to a specific user. So potentially maybe China just doesn't want to spend that much money on it. Maybe they've got something else in store for the future, that maybe they're just going to open up the doors and let cryptocurrencies flow after they get something in line legally. But for the moment, they have really just kind of cut back on cryptocurrencies, and they're really trying to just squeeze them out and wrangle or whatever it is, ring everybody out for whatever they've got left, all the local investors in their country. So the last bit of news I've got for you guys is that Texas has actually set out another cease and desist order. And what that is pretty much what Trevon James says is the reason why BitConnect got shut down, which isn't the reason. They just ran out of money and they use this as an excuse. But what Texas has been doing, this is actually the 4th cease and desist order against cryptocurrencies they have sent out. And not many states in the United States, or for any reason, even the United States in general, hasn't been going out of its way to regulate cryptocurrencies, but they have been going out of the way to try to tell people about securities and try to stop all these companies that are claiming to not be securities, but they are, and they're not paying the legal way for securities, and they're essentially Ponzi schemes. And a lot of people are investing in this, not really knowing what to expect, and they're going to lose their money if they already haven't, like on things like BitConnect and USI Tech. And now they have actually put a cease and desist order against Davorcoin, and Davorcoin actually tweeted right after BitConnect went down and said that they were now the biggest lending platform in the world, and they were all excited about it. And then all of a sudden Texas comes through and just smacks them and hits them with a cease and desist order and really sits them down quick. So all I can really gather from this information, and all I hope you guys really gather from this information, is to stop investing in any of these lending platforms, because they will take your money. They are not here for any other reason than to make themselves a lot of money, and hopefully the first few people that invest in them a lot of money, and then they're going to take money from people. Obviously, at some point in the chain, they're going to start to take money from people, and you don't know if you're going to be that person that invested too far down in the chain to even get your profits back before it gets shut down. So the 4 companies that Texas has sent these cease and desist orders to are R2Bcoin, BitConnect, USI Tech, and Davorcoin. R2Bcoin, I looked into it. I've never heard of it before until this, and it pretty much was just a website that said invest in this coin. When I looked at it today, it said today you can get double your tokens for what you pay in cryptocurrencies. There's no white paper or anything for it. It says just literally invest in it. I looked up the CEO or the founder of the company, and his information, it says he is a real estate agent in California, and he owns, like, I think nightclubs in Vegas or something like that. And everything behind the token, there's nothing behind it. It's just essentially saying invest in this token, buy this token, and there's nothing. Just send them money and they're going to send you this token. So, you know, if you're going to invest in something like that, you might as well just go search for a random ERC20 address and just start sending them donations. And hopefully you're sending it to somebody that cares, because, you know, you're sending it to nobody that cares when you invest in these Ponzi schemes. So, had another day of red. Yeah, it's another video over, and I'm just hoping that you guys, if you continuously keep looking at your portfolios, I know a lot of my friends and everybody that I keep telling about cryptocurrencies who have gotten into it, they're not looking at their portfolios as often. They're really starting to enjoy their free time. But I also have a lot more people starting to come up to me and ask me about cryptocurrencies. It seems like every day, every other day, I'm trying to teach another person about cryptocurrencies. And I actually just had a dentist appointment the other day, and my dentist made me another appointment to go back and teach him about cryptocurrencies, a specific appointment for that. So it's interesting that as this cryptocurrency space grows, more and more people want to get into it, and they want to learn about it. And they think if they learn about it in 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years, it's going to be too late. They want to learn about it right now. And that's why I think that even if a lot of people are selling their cryptocurrencies in a down market, that as soon as that market starts spiking up, it doesn't matter if they lost 20, 30, 50, 75% of their initial capital that they invested, they're going to get right back on that train, because there's a chance that they could make some of their money back. And they're not really looking at that chance that they could lose 75% of their initial capital that they're putting in again. So that's why I think these markets are going to go big again. I think that, you know, $335 billion, that is less than half of our all-time high. It is ridiculous how low we've dropped. And everything else is, you know, Bitcoin dominance is still pretty much the same, but you can get on every day and just watch for that big dip in Bitcoin dominance, and you can go Google cryptocurrency news and see just whatever random FUD is happening that day to cause that random dip. But as you can see, every chart seems to look exactly the same. And all I can tell you guys is to continue, keep those strong hands, hold on to your cryptocurrencies. It is pointless to sell them now. Not financial advice, but I am holding on to my cryptocurrencies. It's pointless to sell them now. And, you know, if you were on the train, if you've been dealing with this much stress for this long, if you've been dealing with all this FUD, if you've been dealing with these banksters buying your coins, if you've been putting even small orders in, they are accumulating your coins, and they are going to profit in the long term. And that just shouldn't be right. You shouldn't feel happy about that. You need to hold. I'm holding. My friends are holding. Family's holding. We're going to hold together. I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow. You take care and hold tight.